shoot a bunch of questions and make people talk forever. I love having conversations. I'm a bodybuilder myself. Compete as a classic physique pro. I went pro like 2 years ago. So for me, this is more than just somebody that's interested in masters. I'm actually of age to be able to compete in masters, and my wife competes in masters and wellness. So the whole concept of this idea kind of came up with just being around in the league for the last 5 years and just kind of seeing the discrepancies, man. And it bothered my wife and I so much to the point where we contemplated not even competing in the NPC or IFBB league. But instead of going that route, we kind of decided, like, look, let's actually change this up. Let's bring some awareness to it, and let's try to change it from the inside out. So, that's what kind of got us over into the territory with Roy, and then Roy kind of mentioned you, and beyond grateful to be able to sit down and have this conversation with you, man. I truly, truly want to express that. And I know you were over there eating a meal. What meal number was that for you today? You
That's only
done?
two. I woke up really late. I
I,
woke up
I
really
got
late,
you.
so that's only number. I got some work to do today. I got
I feel
more
you.
meals in me. Let me. So I'm happy to help, and I love that I'm ambassador for the Masters division, the
Sure.
bodybuilders, and everybody, every. But you said there's something about what you and your wife experienced that kind
Mhm.
of left some type of a negative impression on you. What was it?
So yeah, man. I mean, we're at shows often because I compete. I've competed in maybe about 10 shows so far, 5 pro shows, 5 amateur shows, and we kind of keep a close eye on the league and kind of see trends. We're real big on picking up on trends, and one of the biggest things that we've seen is that online there's no information out there as to how masters are competing and what they're doing, placements, no accolades. But yet on certain pages, big pages, we don't want to name them here, I'm not going to name drop them, but there's no coverage at all. And then on top of that, when you're in
Right.
person at shows, you see prize money. The prize money can't even cover an airfare, you know what I mean? It doesn't really do much at all. And then they took away the Olympia and they brought it back, and Masters Olympia. So it's just kind of like, we're looking at that and we're like, well, there's a lot of things that are consistent in the open, and there's a lot of things that are still kind of behind in the open as well. There's a lot of gender inequality that exists, but for the Masters, it was a huge discrepancy in which, payment, coverage, respect, even, and just a misunderstanding of how hard it still is, if not even harder, to put in that work and receive the rewards that you get as a master's. It does not equate. And in my opinion and in my wife's opinion, that is where the value is. That is where the true wisdom is. That's where the true experience is. Even looking at the criteria of what it means to, you know, score well as a master's is different than it is for an open competitor. They're looking at density, and they don't really look at that in the open. They look at graininess and maturity in the muscle. They don't really look at that. So there's discrepancies, and it seems harder to be in a master, but the rewards and the accolades don't match. So that kind of rang to us, especially with my wife coming in. She does her first show in August. I'm coaching her to that show. So her being a masters competitor, she was really upset about it, and I was as well. So that kind of got us fired up, and we wanted to do something about it. So
So I can resonate. I feel exactly where you're coming from. There is some discrepancies that I've noticed, and I reached out. I just did the Toronto Pro,
yeah,
and I didn't do the Masters division. I'm
okay,
already qualified for the Olympia,
mm,
Masters Olympia. So it's like I don't want to take somebody else's potential spot. But anyways, the guys who ended up doing Masters, they ended up finishing they got last place in the Open. And I'm looking at all these guys' physique. Now, mind you, I've been bodybuilding for
yeah,
28 years, like my life. I've done over 80 shows. I've got an eye for this. I'm a
yeah,
doctor of chiropractic. I know exactly what I'm looking at.
yeah, yeah,
Now I look at these, they got placed dead last, and they've got better physiques.
yep,
Some of these guys that were placed ahead of them, just because maybe they're coming from a different country, or
mm,
there's some type of a favoritism. Maybe they're younger, but when I first started the league, like 2016, 2017, my first pro shows,
mm,
I noticed there was like a level of seniority. Like these guys who are like a little older, they have more
mm,
shows under their belt, more experience. These guys might look just as good as one of these new guys, but they're still placing higher.
yeah,
You know, then what I noticed right off the bat is like the tide's changing a little bit because
Mm,
2016, Instagram's coming popular.
very true.
I go and I do my pro debut and I get beat by some guys that I should be beating. And I
Hmm.
notice there this is a popularity contest
Definitely.
because these guys got gigantic Instagram followings. They're
Mm,
placing better than a
yeah.
competitor who should beat them in a bodybuilding contest.
Bodybuilding strictly. Yep.
This is a bodybuilding contest, and something has changed within the last 10 years that has made it more of a popularity contest than a bodybuilding contest.
I can see that.
So this really irks me
Yeah.
because, last year, let's see, 2 years ago, I got my qualification to do the Masters Olympia. I won
Hmm.
that was my first pro win in the
Hmm.
Masters. Then I
Nice.
went on and I won the Olympia. Then I did the Olympia, and I
Nice.
placed tied for last in the Olympia, even though I
Yeah.
had a better physique than some of the guys placed ahead of me.
Yeah.
And this season, I wanted to go because we don't have Masters Olympia this year. We'll have it next year because they're doing it every 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah. Me
So
too.
I wanted to sit down for 2 years and wait to do Masters Olympia again. I know
Exactly.
I've got a physique to win pro shows now.
For sure.
And, I go out there
Absolutely.
and I give it, and I'm first call out in pretty much every show I did.
Mm.
But I was good enough to win some of these shows
Yeah.
or at least place higher.
Yeah.
I got sixth. Well, no, I went seventh, sixth, fourth, seventh. Those
Wow.
were my four show placings. And I could have definitely been first or second in every one of those shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this is kind of, I had to reach out to Roy and Matt and the Masters competitors from the Toronto show, all of them. I reached out to them. I said, guys, I see your physiques. I see how good you are. That contest didn't give you any love and didn't show you respect.
Facts.
So I'm going to. I'm like,
Facts.
guys, you guys did good. You need to hear this
Yeah.
from me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, that's kind of what started this thing, talking with everybody. And I see there's this discrepancy there, and I want to voice my opinion.
Absolutely.
And I want to be the voice of the whole master's class. Just
Absolutely.
because we're older doesn't mean that we're like on the way out. I'm
Exactly.
43 right now,
Yeah.
and I don't stopping anytime soon.
Yeah.
I plan on getting to the Olympia stage again, and I plan on competing in the Masters Olympia again. My goal for next year, I want to win an open show
Nice.
and win the Masters Olympia again.
Nice.
So,
Nice. So, I mean, have you ever had conversations with anyone outside of athletes about how you feel? Because you would think that once you make it to a certain level, let's say Masters Olympia, and you are the top of the mountain as far as Master Olympia is concerned. You would think your voice is a little louder. Have you had any opportunity to be able to speak to anyone, and you don't even have to drop names, just anyone that could shake things up or make a difference? And if so, how were your feelings towards that experience? Did you walk away feeling positive? Was it mutual? Was it the same or worse? How did that go if it did happen for you?
I talked to a couple of the judges that I'm close to and I know, and I don't want to say their names.
Absolutely.
And even with them, I'm very like censored in what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
want it
for
to come
sure.
off in a way where I'm not, hey, you suck at judging. That's not what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
But, I disagree with their judgment. Like I said, I've got an eye for this.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's like every competitor out there almost wants to bite their tongue because they don't want any repercussions of going against the mainstream. So
Yeah.
I've got kind of a fear that I think, hey, these Masters guys are good, or I'm good, and we're all getting shitty placements, and it's because of the judging. I'm afraid of being ostracized by the league, by the
Absolutely.
judges, by the Manions, or whoever.
Yeah.
So really, I just haven't said that much
It makes sense. It makes sense. And
because I don't want
honestly,
to affect, my.
yeah, and honestly, that's honestly where a news network like Master Physique Network steps in. We're not necessarily trying to kick doors down per se, but we're more so wanting to put so much emphasis, overwhelming amount of emphasis, on the Masters, that there's no way in hell you cannot hear the voices. You know what I mean? And from the early
Mhm.
infant stages that we're in right now, we've only been in business for about a little over a month. We have truly exploded in about a month. So much to the point where other networks that are covering other categories like, you got the men's physique, you got classic physique, you got all these. They recognize who we are and that we're coming and we're coming strong. So early signs are already showing that there's enough people that feel the way that you do, that feel the way that I do, and my wife and Roy, enough for us all to come together on a platform like Masters League Network and use that to kind of push the league forward into a present day where we're all treated as though that, look, we deserve the respect, the masters deserve respect. No knock on anyone who's not competing in the masters class. You guys are doing an awesome job. I yet to compete in the masters class either, but me standing in my position kind of shows that there are people outside of masters athletes that have a very strong passion towards equality as a whole, but even more so equality in the sport that I love. I mean, I've been in this for only 5 years, nowhere near as long as you. I hope to have a career as long as yours. I think any athlete does, but just being in it for 5 years, I'm passionate. And if you have passion for anything and it kind of rubs you the wrong way, you either keep your mouth closed, like you said, and there's reasons for that, being actively in the sport for having that type of feeling when it comes to wanting to speak out. But then there's also platforms like NPN that will speak out on the behalf of the athletes and will push this forward to a place where things do change. That's definitely the goal. That's definitely the desire. And like we talked about candidly before getting on the call, we definitely have plans of moving this forward and shaking things up. So your passion is being shared, and it's going to be honestly an honor to work with someone of your stature, of your accolades, of your achievement, because in my opinion that's a voice that cannot be ignored. You know what I mean? You have seniority in this sport, and it has, your voice should be heard. And Masters League Network is here to help you have that voice heard. So totally understand where you're coming from, man. So as far as the pro shows are concerned, do you plan on doing congruently some pro shows and master shows as you go forward? What was the decision making towards converting over into masters competing, and how did that thought process go? How did you arrive at that process where you're like, look, it exists, so let's just see what it's about? And then, how did you go about that decision and where you ended up where you are today?
Well, I think first of all, I've been bodybuilding for a long time. My
Mm.
first show, I was like at about 134 pounds,
Wow.
136 pounds.
Wow.
Now and close to 250.
Mm.
But it took me 16 years to get my pro card.
Wow.
So I finally got my pro card. I've been a pro for 10 years. So I got my pro card later than most guys get their pro cards. I think I was like 33, 34 years old.
Mm.
So when the first Masters Olympia was reintroduced in Romania, I was qualified to do it. I could have done it. I wasn't qualified necessarily in terms of like, I'm saying I was of age to do that show and I
I got
wanted
you.
to do that show.
Mm.
But my coach at the time says, hey, man, he's like, you can probably win that show, but
Mm.
I'm afraid it's going to make you irrelevant in the
Mm.
open. That was his warning towards me,
Yeah.
and I feel that. I just won the Masters Olympia last year. Now I
Mm.
come into these open shows fucking awesome in every show I did. And I thought I was placed a little low in every show.
Yeah.
But, I want to be relevant and open. When it comes to masters and what we're all trying to achieve and trying to say that, hey, we got great physiques and we need to be recognized for what we've done and
Mm.
what we're doing right now. What it comes down to is being awesome on stage. You
Yeah.
got to come up and you present yourself in a way that's spectacular. You want the judges to be impressed. You want the crowd to be impressed. You want social media to be impressed. I want you to
Mm.
be impressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's one thing, voice for it, but it's another thing to come showing up. So I think that's super important. Where am I going to go with this? As far as I'm competitive in the open class, and I think I'm competitive with the best in the world, I'm going to continue to do open.
Nice.
But once I think, maybe I'm aged to the point where I can't compete with these guys at the top level, maybe I might just come down to doing exclusively master's classes. I
Hmm.
don't know. That's the future.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this. I told myself a long time ago, as long as I enjoy what I'm doing, I continue to progress, and I'm healthy, I'm going
Hmm.
to continue doing this. And I'm going to continue to show
Absolutely.
up and be my best self and push every bodybuilder out there to be their best self.
Yeah.
And I'm loving that I'm kind of falling into this ambassador role since I'm a Masters Olympia because, I think I'm considered one of the best older bodybuilders in the world.
Absolutely, you are.
And
Yeah.
I all the other bodybuilders to get the same type of respect that I'm getting that are
Mhm.
masters. So
Absolutely.
I love what you're doing, and I'm happy to help. And I've got your back 100% all the way.
I truly appreciate that, man. And you actually spoke on something that's been on my mind personally. This has been a debate between my wife and I. We've always wondered, going into a show, if I were, or even my wife were, or anybody were to go into a show and enter, because we can enter in as many categories as we want. We're already aware of that. If you're an amateur, you can pay for as many as you want. Pros, we can request on contract as many as we want. But going into a show, selecting an open class, and then as well as the master class in the same show. We've always been curious as to if you get knocked in the open just because you entered into the masters. And this philosophy comes from a place of when I first started bodybuilding. I went into the, I think it was, what do they call it? Novice, true novice, but I also did open. And in novice or true novice, I won it. I won it. But then when it came to the open, it's like I fell into third. So, you can always speculate as to why or how that happened, who showed up, judges' criteria, what they were looking at that day, whatever the case may be. But it's always been a thought process of, if you do both, do they potentially knock you on one side, on the open side, and not give you that high placement just because they're already going to give you the high placement in the masters category? And this is just my theory. I just want to know what your thoughts are, because I've thought about this. My wife has thought about this. So just curious to hear what other people think.
I think
Uh,
on the amateur level, they want to give everybody a taste of the cake, you know?
gotcha.
So maybe you won novice and you were the best in your class and they gave you your taste of the cake. But maybe there's some guy who's close to you in the open class. But since you've already got your win
Yeah.
as the novice, they want to give it to the other guy just so he can experience a win too. I see this sometimes in shows. You'll have two guys that are really close,
Mhm.
and the guy who ends up getting the best poser award,
Yeah. Yeah.
they, I did this once. They gave me best poser. They awarded another guy the win for the class. So it's
Got
like they're
you.
trying to
Wow.
give everybody a little bit of love.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from what I've seen in the pro, and, and I'm new to Masters, only
Mhm.
2 years now, so I really haven't been much attention as I have recently.
Got you.
But what I just saw in Toronto Pro, man, all right, you got top three, you got guys in Masters. Good, great job, Masters guys. We're going to put you all at the very end of the placements for the open class.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, it was hard for me to kind of, I didn't even realize what happened until it was all over.
Yeah.
But like I said, that I felt like I needed to reach out to those guys. I'm like, you guys are good bodybuilders and you deserved better than what you got.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
on the pro level, I'm not sure, but I know on the amateur level, like I said, they try to give. Sometimes it seems like they want to give everybody a little taste of the cake, taste of
Yeah.
victory.
That's a speculation. We're not going to sit here and stamp anything. Conversation's all speculative, and I always just love hearing other people's perspective, because how I see things may not be how someone else sees it. But when you combine all these different perspectives, if there's a commonality, then to me that's not a trend. That's something's going on. So it's always curious and interesting to hear people's perspective on the situation. But yeah, man, I didn't want to take much time from you. I got one last question. If there was one thing that you could see that could change drastically for the master's class within the next 5 years, let's say, I wouldn't even hold it to one thing. You can name three things, up to three things. What would those three things be?
Whew. Well, like I said earlier, what's going to bring attention to the master's class is what the master's class brings to the stage.
Absolutely.
So if we show up and just as good as these open competitors, I mean, that's going to build value. At the end of the day, this is a business, and we're trying to get asses in the seat.
True.
So the better we look and the better we represent ourselves and the better we show up for the contests, um, that means there's more money, there's more interest. It's just going to be better for the Masters in general. So that's one thing. The second thing is we just had the Masters Olympia in Tokyo, and I
Yeah.
loved going to Tokyo and winning the whole thing. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But that was 2 years ago almost. Well, it was 1 year ago, but by the time the next Masters Olympia rolls around,
Yeah.
we're going to have a whole new group of very talented, open bodybuilders and
Absolutely.
competitors in every division that are going to be jumping in to the Masters division now. We got like Andrew Jack,
Yeah.
Samson Dauda, Brandon Kerr. William Bonac,
Yeah.
Dorian Haywood.
Yeah.
You know, uh, I I think that would be great
Mm.
just to have that much in the same place.
Yeah.
So part of that is A, let's get talent in the league and put that talent on stage.
Yeah.
B, let's get the show in the United States
I like
so more
that.
people will attend.
Yeah.
Then from there, I had another point in my head. I'm blanking on it right now.
Yeah. It's all
But
good. Take your time.
I'm trying to think of the third thing. But those are the two big things.
Yeah.
Here, I got it. I
Mm.
got it. Now, I remember when I was younger and Masters Olympia was a very popular thing.
Mm.
It was happening almost every single year, you know. Vince Taylor, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome
Yeah.
uh, bodybuilder. He won that show 5 times.
Jeez.
What was cool about the show back then is we took all the heroes
Mm.
that used to be bodybuilders and on the grand stage on the Olympia, guys like Lou Ferrigno, Dennis
Wow.
Jane,
Wow.
these big names of the past.
Yeah.
Guys are doing that these days. Hey, Kai
Mm.
Green, where are you? Hey, Phil
Yeah.
Heath, why don't you show up? Hey, Dennis Lowe,
Interesting.
come out.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the reason these guys don't show up, one, they slipped and they're not going to be able to produce what they've once put on stage, which was
Absolutely.
awesome. They're never that good again.
Mm.
But they can still come in and they're going to draw a crowd.
It's true.
And I think most of the reason they don't come and compete is because A, there's not enough money to
Yeah.
bring them out to play.
It's true. It's true.
So I think that would be so cool. I mean, imagine Phil Heath, Kai Green,
Yeah.
myself, Andrew Jones, Samson Dowda
Huge. It would be
being
huge.
at
Yeah.
Masters Olympia.
That's an awesome idea, man. That's an awesome concept. And even sitting here thinking about that, that in my opinion has the potential to rival, the regular Olympia. If you have certain faces like that on the same stage, I mean, it's always cool to watch the up and coming talent. Because I'm looking at people in my class in classic physique. You got people like Neil Darwin who are coming up out of nowhere with this crazy physique, and it's amazing to see. But if you're a true fan of bodybuilding and you're a true fan of history, and you're in the sport from a place of passion, there's no way you can look at an event like that coming and not get excited for it and want tickets for it, especially if it's in the United States. That was an incredible point. I love those ideas. I'm jotting down notes in my head of everything that you're saying, because these are things that I'm going to take back and kind of marinate on. And as we move forward with this process and we push forward for progress, these are things that I'm going to remember and try to see if we can potentially bring into fruition, because that's an awesome idea, man. And I think that would be a big deal. But yeah, brother, I definitely wanted to express and extend, both on my wife's behalf and mine and all the masters everywhere and Masters League Network, wanted to express great appreciation and gratitude for you just taking the time out. For everyone who will be able to watch this, Dorian jumped on this call the day of. He literally, we just met not too long ago, and he said, "Hey, I'm available right now." That speaks to your character, man. That speaks to the type of person you are, the type of class that you have, and the type of professional that you are, which doesn't really exist, I say, in the generations younger. They're trying to get to that phase, and you're displaying that. And just wanted to appreciate you for that. We will be in touch. I'm going to be chopping this up. I'm actually going to try to get this out this week, because I think there's nothing going on this week besides Universe, with the 4th of July coming up. So I want to get this out as soon as possible, because that's how excited I am, man. And we will be in touch going forward. I really do look forward with working with you, and us together. I can see us making a change, as well as the other Masters competitors out there, making a change in this league and doing something big. I truly believe it when I say there will be a change that will come. It may not be everything that we ask for, but it will be progress, and that's what we're shooting for. That's what we're aiming for. So, brother, I do appreciate the time, man. I don't want to hold you up. You're on meal too, and you got plenty of things to do today. We'll be in touch. Hit me up. You have my info. I'll be hitting you up. And to everyone out there, thank you for watching. This is Master Z Network. Great interview with Dorian. And we'll be.
Yeah. Yeah.